Good evening to Abdul and my fellow classmates. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abdul Fattah Said, and I was born and raised in Ethiopia, and I've been studying in Malaysia for almost 5 years. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For this session, I'm going to ask you 5 questions regarding for our group project. Question number one, Izzat will ask you the question. Izzat?
For question number one, what do you think about English growth in both your country and globally?
In my country is since my country trades like coffee, and to communicate with other countries to trade and stuff, we need to know English as a common language, since there are many languages and stuff. And globally, since there's a lot of languages and many countries, in order for us to understand and communicate with each other, we have to have a common language, and that's English in this. Yeah. So we can use English to talk to each other, understand, trade, and also learn from each other.
Okay, thank you Abdul for the response. Daniel, would you like to ask the next question?
So for the next question number 2, can you give us a brief explanation on history, development, influence, and current progress use of the English language in your country?
Development. English also, and high school and curriculum, when I was learning national exam and everything, most subjects we learned were in English, except the language subjects. And also, since trading and stuff, they also use English language. That's most I know about it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you Abdul. For the next question, Adam, would like to ask him?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello. Yeah, okay. For the third question, can you give us an example of your country localized version of English and other type of English used in your country?
Localized, I don't think there's a localized version, but the way they pronounce some words is for example, they pronounce, some people pronounce it as Z or something. But mostly it's the same as maybe British, but it depends on how the person pronounces it.
Okay, thank you Abdul. For the next question, I'm going to ask you question number 4. How do you describe your relationship with English, the localized version of English and other native, foreign and heritage languages in your family repertoire?
English, since I was learning English, and when I also came to Malaysia, it helped me my understanding of English helped me communicate well with my peers, understand each other, and also when I'm studying and when I'm studying, I'm able to understand it well, pretty much.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to add more? Okay, thank you. So we have come to our final question number 5. So Daniel would like to do the honor.
Yes. people might be like might not want to learn the language, since like there might be negative association with the like colonizers and stuff with the English language. That's, and also like maybe like people might think like learning English might push them away from the local language and stuff. Because like in like some countries, when people learn their language, like English language, their understanding of their own language like lowers and stuff. So people might look at it negatively instead.
Thank you very much, Abdul, for spending the time with us. Siapa pun? Other members, do you guys want to say anything for?
All right. See you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul, for spending the time with us. We really appreciate you for the cooperativeness for our group project. So, I think that's it from us. Thanks again for the time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and very good evening to our respectful guest, Mr. Sobek, and my fellow classmates. Okay, in this session, we're gonna ask you 5 questions. You ready? Alright. So, for the first one, what do you think about English influence growth in both your country and globally?
About the English influence globally and locally. Yeah, as you know, the English language is one of the most widely spoken language around the world, and yeah, it has like a lot of effect on daily life of normal people. And if you like, as one of the people, like I can't remember the name, but yeah, they said the more you know, the more opportunities you have. So one of the influences locally in my country, is that, like with English language, like we can have more families interested in our local businesses. They can have their own trades, their businesses with our own people. And English language is taught in our language from primary school, like primary, secondary school, even on the university level, we have all of them.
Alright. So, for the next question, I'm gonna give to Hairulizzat Danish to ask you the second question.
Alright. Can you give us a brief explanation on history, development, influence, and current progress of English language in your country?
All right. So the question is first part of your question related to the history, right? So regarding the history of English language, okay, in my if I talk locally about my country, the English language was not very popular before 1990s, and after the independence of our country, then we had more influence of it. Like before that, like our country, we were together with all the Russian-speaking people, and we had more exposure to Russian language. Uh, Actually, Russian language is the second language in our country, like, and the third is English. and our first is Turkmen language. And regarding the history, and since the independence, some of the foreign countries, they started collaborating with our country, and they started doing some imports and exports. So since then, some of the companies, such as from Malaysia, we have Petronas. It is one of the biggest influencers, like biggest investors in our country. And yeah, I think it by 2000 and 2010, most of the younger people, like on our ages, and then like not our parents' age, we could freely almost speak English. So yeah, that is a brief history regarding the English language in our region. And the second part of your question was the development. The development of the English language. Yeah, since the independence, we didn't have any English knowledge, and after the independence, the government started the English programs at the primary school. They at the beginning they only taught English language until the age of 10, I think, like on the primary school. And after that, if I'm not mistaken, 1998, they changed the laws, so they started teaching the English until the university age, like during the secondary school as well. So yeah, and now what I can say about the development, um, yeah, since then, like it seems like uh, our people, our younger generation, they are picking up the language, and they are they are learning, because nowadays with the technology growing, the internet and everything, more and more people are getting the friends from abroad, and they are getting some of their relatives, even me, I live outside, so we speak English with other people. So yeah, it's developing, what I can say. And the third part of the question was current progress. Current progress, use of English language in your country. Current progress, what I can say, we, our people, like, if we take a generation from 1990s, then probably 30% of them could freely speak English language. And if we take the older generation than that period, uh, maybe less than 10% could speak English. So it is gaining traction, what I can say. Like if that is what I can say. But maybe if you have more specific questions, you could ask.
All right, thank you, sir. So for question number 3, I'm gonna give to Adam. Can you ask the question?
Okay. The question is, can you give us an example of your country's localized version of English and other type of English used in your country?
Localized version of English. Yeah, each ethnicity or each locality, they have their own dialects, they have their own accents and all these kind of things. Yeah, of course, in my country also, people, whenever we are speaking, we have the speaking of with the way of the Russian language. Like we especially pronounce the R words, in a bit like a funny ways. I can, and even myself when I when I go to my place and then some of the people talk English, and I can feel that in their talking style, I can sense the locality from my place. But it's good. That is what makes you like unique. Like it's like you can feel that okay, this person is from this region. Oh, okay, I can understand. It's just like when I talk to the people in Malaysia, I can see also. Yeah, I think localized version of yeah. If any of you guys have watched the Russian speaking, like in all the movies, they characterize the Russian people like a bad guys. I will call you always. You don't talk to me, and that is how our people are. Like somehow I can feel it. They are talking that way. Like I will find you. I will call you. That is the way our people talk. Yes, and that is, I think, yeah, that would be a small example of it. And even there are some stand-up comedians. They are making the jokes about all this, like the way the Russians speaking. So it's almost the same way, like the Russian speaking and our people. Yeah, that is how I see it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Alright. So for the fourth question, I'm gonna give to Zawir Zakwan to ask the next question.
Okay, for the fourth question, how do you describe your relationship with English, the localized version of English, and other native, foreign, and heritage languages in your family's repertoire?
All right. Yeah, this is a very good question. Since I came to Asia, I have been only speaking mostly English. I didn't learn Malay language still, unfortunately. However, like because I didn't use in my daily life a lot. Like I didn't need Malay language a lot because my university was in English. All the subjects were taught in English, and the people around me, we were only communicating only in English language. And I can say after coming to Malaysia, my English improved a lot because I was not only talking in English with my own people back in my country, but I talk in English language with the people from really native speaking, like English speaking countries. Like I have the friends from like Sweden, or I have the friends from Germany, or I have the friends from UK. So they are native speakers, like they were born with this language. However, we didn't have this kind of gift being born with English language. But we picked it up, and along the way, you get more and more fluent with this language. And on my daily basis nowadays, as I'm working as a software engineer in one of the multinational companies here in Kuala Lumpur, it is essential. Even though the company is located like in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, the people inside the country are only communicating in English language. Like and yeah, that is like an unwritten rule there. Like because if you like, it feels like if you are talking in the language that the other person doesn't understand, the other person might get some kind of offended mood that maybe you are talking bad things about him. So if you enter the door from the office, like to the office, you only speak English. There is no other language because everyone comes from different backgrounds. Everyone has knowledge of different things. So, but in the office, you only talk English. So my relationship with the English language, so I think it is, yeah, it is like, it has been quite stable, more stable than my personal relationships, but yeah. And other than that, what I can say, and I actually had my test, like, because I wanted to have some kind of a certificate for like if you want to migrate to US or Canada or some other countries, you will definitely need the certification that proving that you are having an English, like enough knowledge of English. So yeah, I took that one and I got a norm, like a 7.5 in the IELTS test. So I can say I'm quite okay with this English language.
So, question number 5 and the last question. To what degree does the use of English challenge local norms or attitudes toward language?
That is one of the good topics to discuss, I think, because with the new norms, with the new attitudes, with the new uh, cultures being introduced to your locality, like your local society will have some effects of it, and unfortunately, it has like bad sides as well. Not all bad sides, but it has a small portion of the bad sides. Like before, like in our cultures, we didn't have the like some concepts of disco, all these kind of things, like the way the Western uh, countries, the most influential English-speaking countries, they promote these kind of things. And even I remember there were the advertisements of, not illegal, but at that point of time, it was not illegal, like to advertise your cigarettes. And I remember there was a famous advertisement on TV, like about Marlboro, and everyone thought like, oh, smoking is cool. You will be like a cowboy, like, oh, and it was like, oh man, yeah, I remember. And then after, like, during that times, like there was some people who thought like, oh, we have to follow the culture of the English speaking. It is like, oh, that is their way of life is better than us, like, so that some of the aspects of the life were like affected by it. But however, there are bright side of it as well. Like in our places, like before this, like independence kind of thing, we didn't have this kind of concepts like like it's not a like a human rights, all this, like it's more promoted in the Western countries, like, so with this, like with the knowledge of English language, like people start questioning some of the things, and there are some kind of generational gap, like your your ancestors or your parents, or like you will have a bit different view than your previous generation, and this one, it's it's okay. I mean, it's a evolution, like they have to, yeah, there should be some changes, because if there is no change, there is no growth. And if there is no growth, the country is doomed, the society is doomed. So yeah, like as I said, we had a good influence also, and slowly bad sides of it also.
Alright, thank you, sir, for your cooperation. So, once again, thank you for spending time with us. I hope you have a great day after this. So, that's all. Thank you, and we are so sorry for taking your time. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and very good day to my respectful lecturers and my fellow classmates who are currently watching this presentation. My name is Ahmad in the Thaqif bin Arshad, and I will be the first one to start this presentation. In this presentation, we will include the findings about the subject that we held the interview sessions with. The finding is about the speaker's reaction to English growing prominence both in their country and globally. So, findings from speakers number 1, question number 1. To conclude this, we had found that they need to learn English because their country loves to trade in coffee with worldwide country. Findings from speakers number 2, question number 1. To conclude these findings, English had been one of the major languages to learn because it involved in both secondary and higher studies in their country. Next, we will move on to the next speakers.
My name is Mohammad bin Razali, and I'm gonna present the question 2 and question 3. For question 2, the history, development, and current use of English language at the speaker country. For the speaker number 1, the development of English in the speaker country is proceeding well. During high school, English was used for all subjects except for the language subject and the curriculum and examination. For speaker number 2, the awareness of English uses began in 1980s and 1990s when Russians were forced to communicate with the English speaker. For question number 3, the element or feature of localized version of English found at the speaker country. Speaker number 1, there is no localized version of English. There's only the Z pronouncing sometimes sounds like a British according to the speaker. For the speaker number 2, the speaker's localized accent reveal which group they will belong. The vowel O and U must protrude your lips. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Hairulizzat Danish, and for the speaker's relation to English and localized version of English, for speaker number 1, which is Mr. Abdul, he stated that learning English language helped him a lot in order to communicate in Malaysia, especially during conversation with his friends, lecturer, and Malaysian people. For speaker number 2, in Russia, the locals speak localized version of English, where they mix up native and English language. As a whole, they always use native language with the exception of some English words in their repertoire. For question number 5, which is the attitude on English language in the speaker's country, according to speaker number 1, in Utopia, some people believe that if they learn English, they will forget or rarely use their native language or their originality, because most people nowadays speak English, especially in international college collaboration. In Russia, although more and more people are taking English language seriously, as a whole, people in Russia generally are complacent with the local language.
For the reflection, what we conclude in this assignment that we have managed to learn about the uniqueness of English in both countries, which is Ethiopia and Russia. Language reflects a society's culture and worldview. As it relates information, it demonstrates how that society takes in, processes, evaluates, and conveys that information. And to learn that English is used differently in other countries is really an eye-opener for us. For us, English is the global language. It exemplifies the importance of a language. The conclusion to this project, to summarize this report, English language is used worldwide, but there is a difference between the pronunciation and the way of the English language used. The accent of the country may influence the English language, and it makes the English language only understandable by the localized. Moreover, English language is important for people even though it gets different views by certain people. This language is important because this is the language that can connect people even they are not from the same country.